All right, now, among the questions we are asking in the wake of this grueling testimony is what is the role of defense attorneys in court? Now, lawyer Peter Daubermann has come under fire, as we've said before, for his hard line of questioning in the pastor's rape trial. To talk more about this line of questioning and also to deal with another aspect of the story we are following, the trauma that rape survivors face when they are retelling their stories in this way in court. We're joined now by the Law Society's Amanda Vilakazi and psychologist Jeremy Bayer in studio. Thanks very much to both of you for coming into studio. Amanda, I think let's perhaps start with you and talk about what has been the trending issue on Twitter with regards to the testimony of Cheryl Zondi, the incredibly hard line of questioning from Peter Daubermann. In your view, is that the job of a defense attorney?
Yeah, pretty much I should say that is the job of the defense attorney to sort of discredit the evidence that is brought about by the witness or the complainant against your client. However, we are to be cautious in order not to badger the witness or to impair on their dignity or the dignity of the court, basically.
I mean, you talk about badgering the witness, impairing on their dignity. There's one particular question that stands out, for me at least, is when Peter Daubermann asked Cheryl Zondi whether she is certain that she didn't have a jolly good time. In the case of a rape survivor, a rape trial, what's your view on that type of question?
Remember, when you receive instructions from client will tell you that I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So for you to carry out proper instruction, you have to usually believe your client's version. And your client's version could be that she enjoyed it, she seemed to be having fun. So you put that to the witness in order to source their response from that.
Jeremy, let's bring you into the discussion here. What was your sense watching Cheryl Zondi on the stand?
Well, firstly, I have to say it's a credit to her resilience that she managed to last that, because that was bullying and a typical example of patriarchy. And yes, I know they've got a role to play. But the fact is, now she's got to go and study. How is she going to concentrate? Will she be able to focus? And what will her academics be? And is she being managed throughout this process with counselling? So I get there's a case going on, and I don't want to say guilty or not guilty, but I thought that was poor. I thought that really was poor, and I thought the person who's helping, the lawyer for Cheryl Zondi, was conspicuous in their silence in the whole process. I thought that was really poor. So she's got to be managed now, because the concern now is she's going to maybe see herself as the victim, or start to doubt what she said. Should I have said this? Should I have said that? And my fear is that she caves in. So society has to support her through this, because I thought that badgering was poor and, quite frankly, bullying.
I mean, there was one particular moment where I think just before the tea break she had broken down.
Yeah.
But before that, the cross-examination preceding that moment of breaking down, she was stoic.
Yeah.
She was very certain of her story. She was calm.
Yeah.
She was articulate. That was incredible to see from a rape survivor.
No, incredible to see. But the fact that's what I'm saying, it's a credit to her resilience. But everyone's got a breaking point, and she's still human. And that's what can happen in this process, that because of the line of questioning, lawyers have this way of making you doubt yourself. And that's what may have happened. And that's equivalent to what an abuser can do to a victim, where you start thinking, well, did I provoke this? Was it me? Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. So actually, that conversation was a kind of a microcosm of what typically happens between an abuser and the victim. That's what happened there. So look, I don't want to say guilty or not guilty, or say this Omotoso guy is guilty. I can't do that. But given the fact that in my career, 85% of my clients have been victims of gender-based violence, mostly university students who end up dropping out of university, I'm afraid I'm concerned that this can happen again to this girl. There has to be support for her, because that was bullying. It seriously was. Amanda,
Jeremy talks about, the victim being at risk of now doubting herself. I suppose an attorney would argue that is my job. That is my job, to put a level of doubt in the minds of the judge as well.
Yeah, also, where the presiding officer is of the view that the witness's dignity is being impaired with, or there's badgering, he has the right to, or in fact, to protect the witness,
which he has done.
Yeah, which he has done.
On numerous occasions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's boundaries that you can't cross when you are cross-examining the witness. So if it appears to the presiding officer that you are now exceeding the bounds within which you should cross-examine, they will intervene in most circumstances.
If you've been following the trial, Amanda, Jeremy saying that Cheryl Zondi's representative in court was incredibly silent during this time when she was, in his view, being badgered. As a lawyer yourself, would you agree with that? That there was more opportunity for her representative, for the prosecutor to come in and to say, no, this is unfair questioning?
Okay, the prosecutor, if it also appears to me, sometimes we are so used to a witness being asked difficult questions or questions that seemingly they cannot respond to a point that you tell, maybe the prosecutor has told him or herself that, no, I am not going to respond to that. I'm not going to oppose that kind of questioning, because we are used to attorneys asking witnesses such questions. However, if they are allowed to oppose and bring it to the attention of the presiding officer.
The Gender Commission now calling for certain changes to take place in how rape trials are conducted. Is that a possibility in your view?
I think we can develop that kind of maybe regulation at some point. It could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Except that I think it's something that would involve a whole lot of change in the law of evidence, and perhaps maybe regulations from our sides of the law societies or now the Legal Practice Council.
Just sort of the rules of engagement when it comes to a rape trial.
I think it's possible, but it's going to involve a whole lot of regulations and consulting.
Yeah. Jeremy, if we move away from the trial for just a moment, another issue I want to talk about is the line of questioning yesterday particularly that focused on why Cheryl Zondi at the age of 19 chose to go back into the church. Peter Daubermann focusing on if she knew, and she admitted that she knew, that rape was a very real possibility once again, why she would choose to want to go back to the church.
Well, going to church is a human right. Wanting to go to church is her choice. She shouldn't have to fear to go to a church and fear that she might get raped. Okay, this once again, it plants the seed of, well, why should I do that? Why did I make this decision? She shouldn't have that fear in the first place. She should wantingly have the desire to do whatever she likes. So for me, that's quite frankly clutching at straws. Why should she doubt what she does? That's poor for me. And when you talk about the Human Rights Commission, for me the policies are there, but there's no will. There's no will. I mean, I'll have, for example, university students say to me, the university are kicking me out the university because I keep failing, but the reason I'm failing is because I've been raped 3 times. Where's the Commission of Gender Equality for this? Where are they? Where's the Human Rights Commission? So the policies are there. The policies are excellent, but there's no will to do anything. It's just we'll monitor what's going on, but where is their voice? So, no, once again, that's a classic example of her thinking, why should I have done this, should I have done that? No. Rape is a crime. It needs to be punished. You shouldn't have to doubt yourself at all. And this is another example of that.
I mean, another question that sort of leads into that is the repeated questions to Cheryl Zondi around why she didn't scream, why she didn't leave the house, why didn't she go and tell someone, why didn't she protest in some way?
Because this often what happens when you're a victim. You think, if I tell, will it come back to me? Do I trust the police if I do tell them? Because there's a lack of trust in the police as far as reporting goes. Often the abuser, the abuser might have put into her head that you provoked this, and she might have believed that initially. She might have thought, well, what's the point? Nothing will happen. Will people think that I've sort of provoked this? This is often what happens in a rape situation. But in this case, and it's a credit to Cheryl Zondi that to her, I can't take this anymore and I have to do something. Now that's actually rare, ironically, because most don't say anything. So no, I'm fully on her side, because the mere fact that she did that in a country where that hardly happens is a credit to her. So no, and also not just because you don't scream, that doesn't mean you're not giving consent. Consent's not always I'm saying the words no. Sometimes sometimes it's body language, sometimes it's having the conversation, a lack of desire to do that. It's not always saying the words no. So, yeah.
I mean, it's sparking a whole range of important questions around rape survivors actually coming forward.
Yeah.
And the fact that the society is built in such a way that the survivor will have to justify why it wasn't their fault, as opposed to the other way around. Amanda, just as a parting shot, in your experience, what Cheryl Zondi is facing, what she will continue to face today, is that a deterrent for other survivors to come forward and for their cases to eventually get to a stage where it's in a trial situation and it's all very public?
Yeah, I think that could discourage a whole lot of survivors who want to come forward.
Because
to see the line of questioning, to see that I'm going to be facing that attorney again, who's going to be asking me such questions. I'm going to be embarrassed. So it can serve as a discouragement to other victims of rape. But I must say that I really am proud of Cheryl for coming out and for even allowing the televisions to shoot her face so that everybody knows who she is. She gave evidence and she stood her ground. I really must say I'm very proud of her. But I hope they see from her and want to come forward. Yeah.
I mean, it's a massive personal cost, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To your privacy, to your dignity.
It is.
That's the irony of it. Even that she might win in the end. What's the psychological impact of her? What's the impact going to be on her studies? Could there be depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, her trust in men generally? How will it affect relationships? So there are multiple knock-on effects here. And ultimately, our alarming human rights issue. Has human rights prevailed here, yes or no? So what's the impact on that in terms of our reputation as a country? Yeah.
All right, well, thanks very much for both of you coming in to be part of this incredibly important discussion. Jeremy Bayer is a counseling psychologist and Amanda Vilakazi is from the Law Society of South Africa. Thank you to you both.